What's better than a keto cheesecake? Cheesecake in a jar, that's what. Now, I can take it with me. Darius here. This is Sugarless, Crust, your sugar-free destination of YouTube. Enjoy me. I'm guilt-free. Indulge. The wonderful thing about being low carb are the tricks. Hey, I thought you was on that diet. How you eating cheesecake? Oh, but I am. Truthfully, who invented this? A cheesecake in a jar? You can't beat that. It's kind of hard to hold a plate while driving. Whoa. But you can have your spoon and slap that bad boy in the cup holder. Oh man, you could probably even freeze it for later. Oh, anyway, cheesecake in a jar is extremely versatile and convenient. Oh, but there's more. It's a turtle keto cheesecake. That caramel, pecan, chocolate chip goodness. Just the thought. You can eat it and enjoy it guilt-free, kind of like this channel. So let's dig into this. Not the cheesecake just yet, but the recipe. You will need these things for the crust: coconut flour, cinnamon, powdered sweetener, which I'm using Monkfruit, salt, and butter. For the cheesecake, you know, the good part, you'll need cream cheese, sour cream, a powdered sweetener, which I'm using Monkfruit again, and a liquid sweetener, which I'm using stevia, vanilla, egg, chocolate chips, pecans, and caramel. Now the crust is gonna have a graham cracker feel to it, but to me a little bit better. I don't typically like crust myself, but see, for those of you that seen my old cheesecake video, which I'll link in the card above, I said that in anyway. As for the Monkfruit sweetener, I'll link it below. I like this particular brand. It's Monkfruit with a little bit of erythritol because they say that Monkfruit is highly concentrated. This is sweeter than erythritol, so it works better for this particular recipe. And to add that extra sweetness and that stevia combo, knocks it out of the park. So let's get started. For the crust, grab 2 tablespoons of coconut flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon or 1/4, a 1/2 teaspoon of your powdered sweetener. I'm using Monkfruit. I suggest you do the same, but if you use erythritol, it'll be a little less sweet. A 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and pour that melted tablespoon of butter all over that. Now we're gonna use a fork and we're gonna crumble it up. You know what I'm saying? As you can see. Now take those crumbles and put those to the side as we're making our cheesecake filling. Now for our cheesecake filling. 4 ounces of room temperature cream cheese, 3 tablespoons of sour cream, a 1/4 or a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a 1/4 cup of your Monkfruit sweetener, or a powdered sweetener of your choice, and a 1/4 teaspoon of stevia. Cream all those together, and then you add 1 egg. Now these jars right here are very small, for portion control of course. I found these jars at Walmart, but I'll put a link down in the description box that you can head over to Amazon and check them out. So if your local Walmart has them, you'll know what they look like. If not, if you just like you want to just sit in the house, order them there. I'm a Prime member myself. Hey, I get lazy from time to time. Now you will be using 3 for the measurements that I gave. Now if you double it, therefore you'll need 6, but only 4 come in a pack. With your crumb mixture, we're gonna put 3 teaspoons of your graham cracker crumb in each of those little jars. After you finish that, we're gonna do a 1/2 cup of the cheesecake filling. You may even ask, I have room left. I should pour more. I caution this. See, the cake rises, and when it rises, if you put too much in there, guess what? It's gonna rise out of the jar. Trust me, I've seen it happen. So it'll rise and it'll fall back down to where it is now. Now it's to the point to add the good stuff. Now, this will be for personal preference, but for the sake of this recipe, I use 18 chocolate chips. I put about a teaspoonful of pecans. I'm not sure how that's measured. Now for my caramel sauce, I could have made my own, but to make this easy as possible, I just bought some off Amazon. So here I have Choc Zero's caramel sauce. It's actually pretty tasty. It's pretty good, definitely hits the spot. I'm gonna put a link in the description box for this as well. Now add a teaspoon of that into the jar in a swivel motion. If any of you remember science class, based off of density, the density of the syrup is more dense than the cheesecake mixture. So if you drop it all in one spot, it's gonna go straight to the bottom. The cheesecake filling came out a little liquidy. I'm not sure why. It will firm up after it's cooked, okay? No worries about that. It will become solid and creamy. Now oven times vary, but I personally set my oven from about 250 to 300 degrees. So let's average it out to about, to say, 275. I left it in there for about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Then I pulled it out. Now we're gonna put the jars inside a water bath. So place it in the oven for those 2 hours, and I will see you after it's done cooking. Oh yeah, by the way, let them set for a little while so they can cool down, but I'm sure you already knew that. And we're back. We have our cheesecake here. I'm about to dig into this thing and explain to you guys exactly the marvels that I have created. If you can see, and you know what, I'm gonna throw a quick picture up that I took of it, taking it out of the jar so you can see it a little better. But this is so good for all you cheesecake lovers out there. Now you may want to adjust the sweetness depending on how much you like your sweetener, but to me, a cheesecake is supposed to be extra sweet. It's not overly barren sweet because the Choc Zero has a sweetener to it and the chocolate chips have a sweetener to it. So with those things, I dumbed down the cheesecake. The cheesecake itself isn't as sweet as you think it is because I didn't want to make it extra sweet and have those other things fighting, and then you just feel like you just have a whole bunch of chemicals in your mouth. I got you. No worries, no worries. This is definitely one of my go-to desserts right now. Those cheesecakes are marvelous. They came out fantastic. I'm gonna put a couple pictures up for you guys there of my food photography so you guys can get a closer look up of it. And here they are now. If you enjoyed this recipe, give it a thumbs up. And if you tried it out yourself, go ahead and hit that comment section below. Let me know what you think. This is probably one of my best so far. I don't know, that mac and cheese is hard to beat. But if this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. I am Darius, this is Sugarless Crystal Chef, sugar-free destination of YouTube. And I'm not a chef, I'm an entertainer. Bye.